Namo tassa bhagavato arhato samma sambuddhassa. Most Venerable Dhammaratana, Master Changbo Sheng, Bhikkhu Sangha, distinguished delegates, brothers and sisters. This forum started with a beautiful quote delivered by Most Venerable Dhammaratana. And that statement is found in the most ancient literature of the world known as Vedas. Vedas were created when there was no Hinduism, there was no Buddhism, there was no religion. But those ancient seers, ancient sages understood the importance of the truth being explained by different people in the different ways. He mentioned, Venerable Dhammaratana mentioned, Ekam sad vipra bahudha vadanti. Truth is one, but different wise people, they explain that truth in their different ways. It is not so that one explanation of the truth is final. Different ways of achieving the goal may be justified and truthful in its own way at the given time and situation. And that truth was called Sanatana, eternal. It had no relationship with a particular way of living the life, particular way of faith, particular way of rituals, particular way of doing worship. It is eternal because it talks of achieving the ultimate truth by different ways. This philosophy gave the slogan of G20 coined by Prime Minister Modi of India. And G20 slogan is one earth, one family, one future. And this entire philosophy, if I have to put in another verse, another shloka of Vedas, so I would put in the way which is very much in accordance with what Venerable Dhammaratana mentioned, Ekam sad vipra bahudha vadanti. Another shloka of Veda is Ayam nijah paroveti garna laghu chetsam. This belongs to me and that belongs to others. It is mine and that is yours. This kind of thinking is only of those people who are narrow-minded. Udal charitanam garna vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Those who have wide heart, compassionate heart, for them, entire earth is one family. This idea of ancient sages is very important to understand. The similar philosophy echoes in the statement of Lord Buddha when he delivered his first teaching at Sarnath. And he gave a message to his disciples, Charat bhikkave charikam, bahujan hitay, bahujan sukhay. लोकानुकंपाय Athai Hitai Sukhai Dev Manussanam, which means that whatever you have learned, the ultimate truth, noble truth, go around, wander about in all the four directions. For what? For spreading the message of love and compassion and sharing it with others. Athai Hitai Sukhai, for the welfare of everyone. He did not mention that only give this message to my disciples. He said that irrespective of their faith, irrespective of their philosophy, give this message of love and compassion. Share this with everyone in this world. I'm grateful to Venerable Dhammaratana. I'm having severe fever since yesterday's night, and he gave me this chance to speak at the beginning. I'm sorry for that. And fevers, body ache, headache, stomach ache, all these are symptoms only. These have certain root causes which is needed to be identified. The problem with the modern times that after Second World War, when it was ended, our international agencies focus so much on the symptoms only, and that is why we could not identify the root cause, and we could not address the conflict crisis in the way we should have done. We need to understand, when you see the modern peace theories, after Second World War, the most famous Peace Research Institute, Oslo, was established in 1959. SIPRI, Stockholm International Institute of Peace Research, was established in 1966. And they tried to understand the entire conflict and how to address those conflicts. But initially, their theory, their philosophy came into the form of the three instruments: carrot, rod, and hug. Try to establish peace by using punishment if it is required. If that doesn't work, then give carrot. Inculcate greed. That might resolve the conflict. And third tool was to hug, to make friendship. That was such a synthetic way of addressing the crisis. And when much more organized theory of peace was coined by famous peace thinker Johan Galtung of Norway. So they came with the idea of negative peace and positive peace. But in the entire discourse of peace establishment, they forgot that inner peace is so important that without addressing the inner peace, without addressing the spiritual issues, you cannot establish sustainable, holistic peace. I'm not making any claim that Buddha always talked of inner peace only. Buddha's method was middle path. So on the one hand, he was addressing lot of political, social conflict of 2,500 years ago, 6th century before Common Era. He resolved the conflict of Rohini River between Shakyas and Koliyas. He gave a guideline to establish, to resolve the conflict within the Sangha, which is known as 7 tools, 7 ways of resolving the conflict, which is known as Adhikarana Samat. So, Lord Buddha was addressing the social issues to establish outer peace, but at the same time, he understood that without addressing the issue of inner peace, you can never establish the holistic peace. So, whether we talk of the modern crisis, and all the crises are so much intertwined, so much interrelated, that you cannot make any claim that this crisis needs another kind of tool and another crisis. We have seen the example of COVID situation. Just because of one health crisis, all kind of crisis happened. The crisis of education, crisis of human values, crisis of politics, the vaccine war, and so on. So every crisis is interconnected. So we can never talk of one crisis in a segregated, separate way. And that is why Buddhism understands all conflicts, all the problems, with 3 kind of roots, which are called Lobha, Dosa, Moha. Every kind of problem, every kind of crisis has 3 roots: greed, hatred, and ignorance. Whatever crisis you examine, you will find either all 3 or any 2 of these are existing behind that problem. So Buddha's way of resolving the crisis was very much rooted in the confluence of inner peace and outer peace. Another issue is that which I want to discuss here, that all the faiths were originated in certain time and space and certain cultural context. So certainly our faith, our religious identity are a kind of non-negotiable identity. And in this forum, we should try to find some methodology where we could understand, we could find some ways that without being judgmental, without having preconceived notions for other ways of thinking, we should figure out certain guidelines, do's and don'ts, to establish a successful peace dialogue. Otherwise, if I have to render this thing in terms of the statement of the Buddha, in a famous Mahasihanad Sutta, Lord Buddha says that there are so many things on which I may not be agreed with others. We may not be agreed with others. There are so many other things on which others may not be agreed with us. So I invite them to come on a common platform. Let's leave aside the issues on which we are not agreed. Let's discuss those things on which we all are agreed. So on this forum, I would like to request that just discussion, just teachings, just academic forum might not suffice the entire issues which we are dealing with nowadays. We will have to have intrapersonal dialogue. We will have to understand our faith in a proper way. And when we understand our faith in a proper way, then we should establish interpersonal dialogue with other faiths. And we should be welcoming not only the faithfuls, we should be welcoming to those who are, for example, atheists, who have certain their own vision of the welfare of the world, and they may not be agreed with our ways of thinking. At the end, I would like to say that what I have understood, the entire issue of crisis, conflict management, and peace, is that the entire conflict is between two words: only and also. When we make any claim, and we claim that this is the only truth, this is the only way of life, then conflict arises. When we change the word, when we say, this is the truth, what I have perceived, what I follow, but your truth, your way of life may also be equally right, then perhaps we would be able to resolve the conflict. At the end, I would like to again put on record, and we should not forget that Buddha, when he delivered his teachings, he delivered his teachings in the form of 3 steps. First step is called pariyatti, teachings. Then only teachings are not enough, because all the definition of the Pandits, wise, noble, are never presented in Buddhism as a person who knows a lot, who is able to do a lot of chanting, who is able to do, who knows a lot of Shastra, literature. It goes further to the second step, patipatti. Not only theory, then praxis. You should be able to incorporate those teachings in your life. You should be able to follow that path proactively. And when you do these 2 things, then only realization, ultimate goal is achieved. This is what we should think of, that how we can develop a methodology on this forum without being judgmental, without having preconceived notions, to have a successful dialogue for holistic, sustainable peace. Then only our objective of having the gathering of all faiths would be successful. Thanks a lot for your kind patience, and I'm so thankful to you that you gave me this chance to share my ideas. Thank you.